gentlemen, before I begin my remarks, I really have to share with you a confession, if you would allow me, in just a personal moment. I consider myself a self-proclaimed car enthusiast, car guy, automotive enthusiast, call me what you want. But tonight's really a dream come true. To be in a garage and share the passion of cars, the passion of motoring, the experience with each and every one of you, to have classic Audis with new Audis, and to celebrate 50 years in America, it's truly a dream come true, and thank you very much for joining us here this evening. So first and foremost, a very sincere welcome to the Classic Car Club member hosts and our media partners and our valued Audi customers and dealers joining us here tonight to celebrate a milestone in our brand's history. You know, Audi of America is thrilled to be back in this amazing space for the second year in a row. And I'm personally thrilled to be back with my Audi family as we celebrate 50 years in America. 1969, the year 1969 was a year of revolutions in America. A technological revolution that took us to the moon. A cultural revolution that took us to Woodstock. And of course, a different kind of revolution that started it all for Audi in America. You know, in front of me and behind some of you is the signal of the beginning of the revolution for Audi, the Audi 100 LS. Many of our dealer partners introduced American consumers to the four rings with that classic vehicle, and that they have stuck with us through thick and through thin. It is our dealers' challenger spirit that defines Audi in America, and they embody the ideals on which August Fork founded this very company more than 100 years ago. Yet they bring those ideals to life in ways that are unique in over 307 communities they serve across this great country, creating over 10,000 jobs and giving back in ways that absolutely humanize the brand. And I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank our entire dealer network for being the heart and the soul of the brand for the last 5 decades. They are truly a competitive advantage and the lifeblood of our business. Thank you to our dealers. Next to the 100 LS sits perhaps a more recognizable classic, the Audi Quattro, and one of my favorites. Living legends like Michel Mouton and Walter Wall elevated our all-wheel drive technology to legendary status at the top of Pikes Peak and on the dirt in World Rally Championships in the 80s. It also took Quattro to the tarmac in IMSA and Trans Am racing, with Hans Struck and Hurley Haywood winning championships along the way. You know, it proved to be such a competitive advantage that it was banned from both rally and Trans Am racing as unfair. It also signaled a strong belief that we have that when you test in racing, it improves your road cars. So we didn't stop there. This legendary car, the R8 LMP, began our dominance in Le Mans during the 2000s, taking 5 Le Mans victories and leading to over 16 victories in total during the years that followed. It also spawned the technologies that made their way into our road cars, from LED and laser lighting to TFSI efficiency. So we continue to bring race-engineered performance to American roads, and ultimately introducing the supercar, yes, the R8, to the same superheroes you'll see on the big screen next week in the movie The Avengers Endgame. And ladies and gentlemen, whether you're a fan of the original TT lines with its baseball stitch interior, like our very own Mark Denke from Audi of America Communications, who was kind enough to drive it all the way up here from Washington, D.C., or you're an all-road fanatic, like Warren Angelo, our head of marketing, who probably took a few shortcuts along the way. If you've ever been behind the wheel of an Audi, let alone if you're a member of the Audi Club or showing off your classic in this very garage on the weekend, We thank you for helping us tell the story of the four rings in America. You know, ladies and gentlemen, but that story is far from over. Tonight is not just a celebration of yesterday. It's a celebration of tomorrow, where performance is not just expressed in terms of horsepower, but also in kilowatt, where a premium experience is more accessible than ever before. And the three vehicles behind me unquestionably tell a story of tomorrow. You know, because I know my audience and I know myself, let's start with the absolutely stunning R8 V10 Decennium. A celebration of 10 years of a naturally aspirated V10 engine and that unmistakable V10 sound. It's a true collector's item that is sure to fill a special spot in 50 garages across the country. It's the same V10 engine that powered our GT3 and GT4 race cars across the finish line and the top to the podium in every major race from Daytona to Laguna Seca. It also reaffirms our passion for race engineering and our performance brand, Audi Sport. The Decennium is bookended by the totally reimagined Q3, which will move a new and diverse generation into the Audi family, and that will grow with us and with them as they continue to grow their lives, their ambitions, and also their families. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the time of the Audi e-tron, our first all-electric vehicle, which will begin deliveries to reservation holders in May, and is the beginning of our next era. You know, what Quattro was to Audi some 40 years ago, e-tron will be to our brand for many years to come. From the stunning e-tron GT that we unveiled in Los Angeles, to the Q4 e-tron concept seen in Geneva, to the e-tron Sportback that you'll see later this year, our commitment to electrification is substantial, accounting for 30% of our sales by 2025, to move the four rings into an era of opportunity and responsibility, and one and the same, so that in turn, those four rings move America. So, ladies and gentlemen, many of you know that I have three amazing sons, and of course they love Audi. And it's not just because their father told them to love Audi, but because they simply do. They've grown up with the brand, as passengers and now as drivers. And from R8s to Q3s, they simply love the four rings. But when I think of the next 50 years of their lives, I want them to love the four rings for reasons that go beyond the car. I want them to love Audi because Audi moves them, physically, emotionally, and intellectually. I want them to be proud of being something part of bigger, more personal, a brand that stands for inclusion and diversity, opportunity and sustainability. A brand that is known just as much for its sense of purpose as it is for its products. A brand whose actions are just as iconic as our achievements. So ladies and gentlemen, here's to the icons, both the old and the new ones, the ones that can stand the test of time. America has been good to the four rings for the last 50 years. And on behalf of all of us at Audi of America, we remain committed to the fans of the four rings from New York to Los Angeles and everywhere in between. We are ready and we're excited to move America for the next 50 years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your kind attention and enjoy the evening.